for this book?
Well, a lot of the people that we have other resources as well. We have an online coaching program where people will, let's say they look at the book, they go practice, they send us a video of what they're doing, so we can actually do online coaching with them. And that we have probably 500 members of our online coaching program. So when we have instructional videos, we also have golf schools that travel across the U.S., and plus I have instructors placed across the U.S. where they can go see as well. So we get to see a lot of the people, that actually have seen the book or read the book. So now the people who have the book that I've never seen before, they just comment about how great the book was, how easy is it to follow and understand, how it's helped their game. And we'll see those postings about the book, when they do reviews on the book. But the book is pretty new. It's only been out since January. So we're just now starting to see those reviews of the book coming in. And to be quite honest, it's the first book I've ever written. I actually have 11 instructional videos I produced before the book. Most people do it the other way around.
Yeah.
So most of my feedback comes from people who have seen my instruction prior to the book. The book is just a nice format to graphically lay out the swing in pictures, which people tend to really appreciate because they can the videos go too fast when you learn instruction from a video. That's our feedback from video. People have to rewind it, stop it, look at it, rewind it, stop it, look at it, watch it 10 times. A book, you just look at the page and you can study it, and it's not going anywhere. So it's just a different format for the instruction that we've had over the years on our videos.
Okay, and of course, now that we know that you offer the book and you have the video feedback and you got regional schools, so if somebody is listening to us talk about the single plane golf swing and the teachings of Mo Norman, and they would like to, learn all about it, how would they find out more about what you have to offer?
If they want to just get the book, they can go to the singleplanegolfswing.com. The book is offered on its own website. If they want to find out more information about what we do as far as all of our instruction, they go to monormangolf.com, and they can actually buy the book on that website as well. That is our main website. They can see all the products we offer as well. So they can go to thesingleplanegolfswing.com or monormangolf.com.
Well, while I know that the golf industry is fighting to get more people to play golf, I think every single person who plays golf wants to get better. So you certainly have a lot of people to draw upon, right?
Yeah, well, there's a ton, yeah. We have over 500,000 people in our database, and that's in the last 3 years of people contacting us about improving their game. So there's a lot of golfers out there looking for an easier way, and we're just trying to help those groups that are interested.
So as soon as they get a new club to replace the one that they threw in the lake, then you're the next place they have to go to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity, first of all, to have your commentary on the U.S. Open, because it certainly was different, and it's nice to get your perspective on that. And, of course, as well, your teachings are a little bit different than what most people have heard of, so it was nice to hear about that as well. So I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with everyone.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate the time as well.
All righty. Thank you very much, Todd. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Charleston, one of my favorite cities. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Cinderella story, out of nowhere, a former greenskeeper now about to become the Masters champion. It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole!
I rap fly, call me chocolate thunder, and I got good to go 4 strokes under. Get out the way if you wanna go play, cause I give it my all every single day.
Have a lot of cash cause I sink my putts. Stacks and stacks cause I'm making
And we are back in time for a quick message from my favorite instructor, and that would be Jess Frank from the Jess Frank Golf Academy, the home of the playing lesson. Jess Frank for 15 years has been improving golfers' ball striking, consistency, and distance. He's a PGA teaching professional and the owner of the Jess Frank Golf Academy, located in Boca Raton at the beautiful Boca Dunes Golf and Country Club. So if you're a seasoned golfer trying to break 80 or just a beginner, Jess's passion is to help you play better golf and have a lot of fun. Each lesson includes on-course time with V1 video analysis, focusing on improving all facets of your game. And for a limited time, new students who mention the Golf and Travel Show will receive a $50 Edwin Watts gift card with the purchase of a series of lessons. To learn more about the services of the Jess Frank Golf Academy, call 561-213 213-8579. That's 561-213-8579, or visit JessFrankGolf.com. Also check out Jess's videos on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we are back, and boy, do we play some different music around here sometimes, but I wanted to get everybody in the mood to talk about one of my favorite towns, and that would be none other than Charleston. And I got to tell you, I don't get to spend a lot of time there, but anytime I'm anywhere near there, I just pop in and eat some of the wonderful food that they have there. That's one of my favorite foodie kind of towns. And to find out a little bit more about what's going on there of late, what's going on there this summer, perhaps a few deals or cool places to go, things to see, we have the director of Fennell Holdings and also the chairman of the Charleston Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that would be Dan Blumenstock. Dan, are you with us?
I am. Thank you for having me, Dan.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. As I said, I just love your city. It's just a breath of fresh air for me. It's old, it's new, it's fun. I just always see cool things when I'm there, and I just regret that I don't go there more often or stay there longer when I do go. But in any event, you guys have had probably a little more excitement than you bargained for of late. And first of all, I mean, I feel terrible for the families, the victims of the recent shooting there. There's nobody deserves that, and certainly not your fair town. But there's been some really interesting and perhaps heartwarming reactions and some good maybe that's come of it. Can you explain a little bit about what it's like to be a resident in the area, as well as somebody who's representing a town that has a tragedy like this happen?
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for the condolences. And, really as a city and as a resident, as you said, it's really as you go around and talk to people and neighbors and anybody in the community, you just realize that it wasn't just those 9 individuals that were impacted. In some way, shape, or form, we all knew someone or had someone or some association with somebody that was there that evening. And what we've seen is just an overwhelming outpouring of love, in my opinion, that has just been breathtaking. And I'm sure that some of the media is what you see that is portraying what's going on in Charleston can show it, but until you're here and really feel it, it's pretty breathtaking, as I said.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because while I did mention one of my favorite parts of the town happens to be the wonderful food and cooking that your restaurants provide folks like me who come to visit, but the people are very, very warm and very friendly. It's true Southern hospitality. So it doesn't surprise me, but of course, when terrible tragedy strikes, it can bring out the worst or the best in people, and we've seen, every side of that story. But in this particular case, truly your city has just really bonded together, and like you say, the expressions of love are quite evident even from a distance.
Absolutely. Another thing that just keeps coming back, and as we talk about our great city even prior to the past couple of weeks, we've always used this word called authentic. And I think what happened in the past couple of weeks is that we really did see that it was an authentic reaction behind that. And, really, and from my own standpoint, to be able to look at the families and their reactions and the way that they've handled themselves, it just makes you very proud to be a resident here at Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, and not that you need the competition, but at least in this particular case, if other cities can kind of watch and learn a little bit, we'd all be better off, I think. So, kudos to the city of Charleston for this and many other things. And speaking of many other things, I get all sorts of information from the media, press releases from PR people, magazines, whatever. You guys are always winning awards, it seems, for something. You're one of the most highly decorated cities in our country. Why don't you explain a little bit about some of the most recent accolades, perhaps, and then we can talk a little bit about why you get these.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've been nominated and awarded the number one city in the United States by Condé Nast Traveler for 4 consecutive years. We've been the number one city in U.S. and Canada by Travel and Leisure World's Best Awards for 2 years in a row. And then most recently, this past year, we were awarded by the International Association of Golf Tour Operators. We call them IAGTO. They awarded us the Golf Destination of the Year for North America, so we were very proud of that as well.
Yeah, that's just incredible to me. And these are all very, very reputable types of companies that are providing these awards or awarding you with these distinctions. While I'm not a big history buff, obviously the city has a tremendous history, and I do like to stay in the historical area. And I think that's probably one of the biggest draws of how beautifully maintained and how you can, take a step back in time. For those who are not aware of some of the really cool things as far as history that you can see and touch and feel when you're in Charleston, maybe you could touch on that a bit.
You bet. I think it's very ironic, even if you travel around other cities and towns throughout the United States, you may see a museum here or something that you go and you look. But really, Charleston is about the experience. You really go in and you get this, again, authentic experience, the friendliness of the people that are here, whether it's the shopping or the hospitality that you enjoy. But even if you're on a carriage tour, we still have the horse-drawn carriages that take you around the town. And even if you've been here before, a lot of people don't realize these are on what's called a lottery system. So you literally pull up there, and you never know which route you're going to go on. And with over 15 different routes throughout our city, your odds are you're not going to get the exact same experience each time. And then whenever you kind of couple with that our open-air market and some of the other things that we have to do, it just creates for an experience that you're going to be right here in an antebellum home or maybe somewhere where Robert E. Lee had been and stayed even. Sometimes some of our hotels actually hosted some of these great presidents even of the United States. That's kind of a cool experience from a history standpoint.
Yeah, it's not unusual when I've been in town to see people, whether they're working or whether they're attending a event, a dinner, a party, to be dressed in period costume and think nothing of it. I mean, I look at it, it's like, man, this is kind of weird, but to them, it's just another day, it seems like.
That's right, yeah.
Very, very, very interesting, to say the least. So I had mentioned that I just love to come by to eat. I guess a lot of the restaurants on East Bay I like to visit. My favorite one is Pearl, the oyster bar. I just love that place.
Little oyster shooter for you.
Yep, love it. But why don't you talk a little bit more about the restaurants in that area or other areas, or perhaps the style of food that you're most famous for in Charleston?
Okay. One of the things, and I'll give you a couple of my favorites along the way here, one of the things that Charleston has always been known for are shrimp and grits.
Mm-hmm, sure, I knew you were going to say that.
A lot of people don't even know what grits are. So
and for breakfast as well, right?
Yeah.
People eat that.
Right. But shrimp and grits, and my favorite restaurant for those is at Hank's Seafood here in Charleston. The she crab soup is another very famous thing here in Charleston. My opinion is that 82 Queen probably has hands down the best she crab in town. And there's a lot of places just like that authentic, whether you're over on East Bay, as you said, and you've got slightly north of Broad or High Cotton. And then there's a new wave of restaurants and things on what we call Upper King Street. And it's kind of a real nightlife kind of atmosphere. Hall's Chop House comes to mind. That's one of my favorites over in that area for a great steak, and another place called the Macintosh. Now, I can't go without mentioning, because my wife said that I had to, that if you're going out and deciding to take your wife out or something, our favorite restaurant is Circa 1886 for a romantic-type dinner. So that would be something to look at there.
Well, since you mentioned romantic, why don't we talk a little bit about that? The last time I stopped in, literally, I was driving a car that I was bringing to my mother in New York. So I was just driving from here to there. I decided to stay in the Charleston area just so that I could stay in the Charleston area out of every place I could have stopped for the night. And I parked my car near East Bay to go to some of the places that I like to go to. And in walking to the restaurant about 5 blocks, I passed 3 different weddings that were going on at 3 different historic buildings or locations right there in town. And the brides and the wedding parties are all outside on the steps and they're taking pictures. And I've never seen anything like this on just some random weeknight. What's going on with all these weddings?
Yeah, we have actually been dubbed as the number one wedding destination city in the United States. And I really think it has to do with the charm of Charleston. I mean, what other place can you go into an antebellum home and truly be able to experience, like you said, just, again, really a historic setting that's not forced, it's not fake, it's very authentic in its own right. Or even some of our plantations. Lowndes Grove is one that comes to mind that has just beautiful oak trees that are moss-covered, and it creates what a great backdrop for any bride and groom. And then again, I go back to the carriage tours. Name another place in the country that has the offerings of us, and the bride and groom can get into the two-person carriage and be ridden off into the sunset.
So, and I have to believe, and again, I mean, I cheat because I've read a little bit about this, but those folks who haven't gotten married yet, it could be the kind of a town where a little trip there could kind of lead to that, right?
It could be. Another thing that I guess I should mention as well, and I've heard this personally from some of the hotels that I manage, is that bride and grooms tell me that when they have a destination wedding like Charleston, they get more attendance from their wedding parties and from their guest lists and things as well. So I think because of our destination being lucrative from that side of it as well, people make a little vacation out of it and really have fun while they're in the Charleston area enjoying this wedding, but also being able to dub it into two things at once.
Now, you mentioned a little bit about the golf, and since this is the Golf and Travel Show, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you a little bit about it. So when people come and they want to play some golf, where are the best places in the area to play?
Well, of course, first and foremost, I must mention Kiawah Island and the Ocean Course. We're very excited to, again, in 2021, be able to host the PGA Championship just like we had it in 2012. And so that's still personally for me. And there's actually, there is the Ocean Course on there, which is a very tough course, by the way, I might add.
I'm sure it is.
Kiawah has several courses around there, and any one of their courses are just in pristine condition. And so for a golfer like myself, I might choose to do something like Turtle Point or Osprey because it's a little easier on me. But even just down the road from there, Seabrook Island has some very exclusive, very open to the public, but it's an experience that many people would really relish because it's, again, on an island. My favorite personal golf course is kind of tucked away in a little town called Hollywood, right outside of Charleston, and it's called Stono Ferry. And it is one of the best views, in my opinion, of the Intercoastal Waterway. You have a one par 3 that becomes nice and difficult for you. You can stand there a lot of times and have boaters and things like that are coming by you. Just a great experience. Do have to tell you, be careful from the alligators.
Well, here in Florida, we're familiar with that, so at least anybody listening down here would know to stay away. The golf ball is not worth retrieving at the loss of a limb, right? So now obviously we're heading into the summer months, and I'm sure that you've got packages, whether they be historic packages or amorous packages or golf and beach packages. Is the summertime a peak season? Are there some good deals to be had if somebody wants to come out to your area and do any of these things we just spoke about?
The summertime actually is a great season to be able to come out because the packages, we have more packages in the summertime than any other time of the year. The spring and fall actually are our peak, quote-unquote, seasons. But the middle there, which is the summer, really lends itself really well to being able to come out. August, I would even interject, with school coming back in session for families, a lot of times you're able to get an even better deal during that time period. Best way, in my opinion, to look it up would be on our website of explorecharleston.com. You'll see hotels that have, again, piggybacked, such as our Ansonboro Inn or another property in town called the Fulton Lane Inn. They're right there in the historic district, small boutique-type inns, so you get that real southern charm experience. But you can go out to, whether it's Mount Pleasant or go, like I said, to Stono Ferry or Kiowa and be able to enjoy any of the golf courses. And there's, of course, like you said, other packages there, whether it's for families, even if it's having to do, you want to do some type of water excursion to be able to go out to Shem Creek or any of the above and enjoy the beach even.
Well, you know, we're all about finding a good deal. Charleston can be a little bit pricey, I know, because obviously the demand, it's all based on supply and demand, and everybody wants to go there. And that's why I say if there is an opportunity to go there and maybe save $1 or $2, then everybody wants to do it then, is in my recommendation. However, like I say, in the peak season, it's a great town, so it's maybe worth spending $1 or $2 more as well. But one more time, that website for more information?
Is www.explorecharleston.com.
Well, like I said, one of my favorite places, and I wanted to make sure that all the listeners heard about it from somebody who really knows. So thank you so much, Dan, for sharing your knowledge with everyone.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, it was a pleasure. You take care. What we're going to do is take another quick break, and we'll be back with a couple of Dan's deals, a little bit of travel news, and you won't want to miss it. So stay tuned for more of the Golf and Travel Show. And we are back. And I love that town, Charleston. What a great place. But for those of you who are here in Florida, I'm going to give you a little bit of news, or people who want to visit Florida. I saw that the W in Fort Lauderdale is undergoing a major facelift. That's a great chain, and when they first came out, they were just hot and cool and edgy, and some of their properties got a little bit old, and it's nice to see that they're investing some money and they're updating and upgrading to keep W where it needs to be here in Fort Lauderdale, so you may want to check that out. Also, here's an interesting story that was taking place in Florida as well recently. An announcement that a new cruise line is going to be servicing Miami in the not-too-distant future. Actually, it's going to take a few years. But their first ship, a 2,800-passenger mid-sized ship, by Virgin Cruise Lines. So Richard Branson arrived here on his helicopter and put on quite a show in Miami to kind of kick off this announcement and let everybody know that Virgin is not going to only be a record store or only be an airline any longer. So you'll be able to cruise the Virgin way. So I thought that was pretty cool. I also I got a bunch of other news about what's going on in the Miami hotel market, but I got a couple of deals that I wanted to share, and I don't want to run out of time. So actually, my son just came home, I guess yesterday, from Israel. He was visiting Israel for 10 days and absolutely loved it. But Israel can be an expensive place to visit. It's certainly not around the corner. But I did notice a deal where I find a lot of my deals on TravelZoo.com for a package, for a week-long package to Israel, 3 different cities, including air. You're going to visit places like Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Beit Shean, Baha'i Shrine, Caesarea over by the ocean, the Sea of Galilee, sites like Nazareth. Basically you're going to see it all, and departures run from November into next year. And prices start at about $1,700, which when you include airfare and hotel and all these tours, that's a pretty good deal. So TravelZoo.com, $1,700 for a week in Israel. You'll come back probably a different person. If you want to stay a little bit closer to home, if you live here in Florida, but maybe you're on the East Coast, like where I am here in Boca, or you want to head over to the West Coast and see what it's like on the other side, or if you're listening up north or in some other location, really nice resort in a cool place, Captiva Island. And they've got a very, very nice resort there on Captiva Island. and it's the South Seas Island Resort, and they've got a deal going on right now. Weeknights, it's only $129, $149 on weekends, but that includes a $25 resort credit per day, up to $100 per stay. So you're getting, a nice room in a wonderful location, a beautiful resort for next to nothing. So also found on TravelZoo, you got to hurry up with all these deals because they do only last for a short period of time. And for those of you, we were talking about Amore or More or whatever you would like to call it in Charleston. I'd say Amore in Paris. There's a city that could kindle a little bit of romance, and also a place that can be expensive to visit. Of course, these days, the dollar is a little bit strong, so it's going a little bit further. And Paris also has had a little bit of issues, been in the news for not all the right things. So I think their tourism is hurting a little bit. But I do believe it's a great city to visit, a safe city to visit. Great to visit the Louvre and ride the metro, and the food. I love the French food. It's a great place to visit. And here's a deal at Le Méridien Étoile, and Méridien is another chain that I have stayed at on many occasions, affiliated with the Marriott Group, so you can probably get your points there as well. And 4 nights at Le Méridien in Paris, including airfare from the U.S., including daily breakfast, including taxes and fees, $999 in November, December, a tiny bit more for some other months as well. And, of course, depending upon where you want to depart from, it might add a little bit more. I'm guessing that this is probably from the New York area. Yes, JFK. So, again, on TravelZoo is where you would find this. And Paris, it's been a long time since I've been there, but I truly love that city. And, of course, these days you go to a place like Paris, they do have a lot of discount carriers in Europe, so you can use it for a base of operation and get to see some of the other places in Europe that you would like to go visit. Now, I had mentioned some stuff that's going on in the Miami area, and the hotel situation in Florida, occupancy rates have been extremely high for the past year or two. Hotels are doing really well, and what that has caused is a bunch of new construction. And not only for just your run-of-the-mill kind of, Days Inn or something, but really upscale, cool, Miami vibe kind of places. And I was kind of surprised. I read about this in CNN on their website, so you can find it there if you want to read more of the details. But some of these hotels that are coming on board are some very interesting brands. There's a place called Nautilus, a 60 hotel, which is going to be on Collins Avenue. Very, very cool place from the Thompson Hotel Group co-founder, Jason Pomerank. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Brand new rooms are starting at about $275 a night right on Collins Avenue. Also, the Aloft has a brand new property in Miami. Aloft is a very cool brand. Typically, you see them downtown. I've seen them by the airport. But this is their first ever resort style property. So they're kind of trying something new. It's a South Beach on Collins around 23rd. Rooms are going to start at about $229 a night. They're going to have a live music series that will be going on there. Award-winning chef Steven Starr is going to be cooking for you. And Aloft has a cool vibe. It's been a successful recent launch, and I do like it. So you might want to check that out. Also, another Marriott brand is opening the AC Hotel in Miami Beach, a little bit less expensive, starting at about $169 a night. Also on Collins, a little bit further up from South Beach, around 29th Street. The One Hotel is going to be opening as well down Collins around 23rd Street, and it also has a very, very interesting vibe, very large rooms, 700-square-foot rooms. It's an old beachfront property that's been totally renovated and going to be very, very cool as well. Down on Miami Beach, a place called Addition. And also beachfront property, 29th and Collins, a little bit pricier. This is coming from Ian Schrager. I remember him from back in the days of Studio 54 and moved into the hotel business from there. Very, very cool, known for his interesting vibes. A bowling alley, an indoor ice skating rink, outdoor movie screen, all hours nightclub. I'm not surprised about that from a guy like Ian Schrager. Nobu is opening in the Eden Rock. old hotel, famous hotel. I visited the Nobu in Caesar's Palace. This is a theme where they're kind of putting a hotel inside a hotel, and going to be, of course, very upscale, $450 a night. So I'm glad to hear that Miami is doing so well, that they're opening up these kinds of upscale properties, and it's a good sign for the economy. It's a good sign for the travel business, and anybody who's listening to me maybe in the Palm Beach area, it's a great place to go for the weekend, and if you're listening from far away, go hit South Beach. You will not regret it. What I want to do is tell everybody have a happy 4th. We're going to be playing a previously recorded